My friends don't walk their own. Skinny dipping rabbit holes for fun. Popping balloons with guns. Getting high off helium. We paint while roses red. Each shade from a different person said this dream is a killer. Getting drunk with a blue caterpillar. Bikinis on top, sun-kissed skin so hot, we'll make it popsicle.
Fuck, it's cold. Guys, even thugs get cold. Jake, that might be true. I don't know how that correlates to you.
You know what they say, a hoe never gets cold.
So I'm with a thug and a hoe?
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna
I'm not the それなら僕がマフィアになります僕のマフィアだから理由を教えてくださいマフィア
Murder lives forever and so does war. It's survival of the fittest, rich against the poor. At the end of the day, it's a human trait, hidden deep down inside of our DNA. Another one erase, to save somebody's life and have it blow up in his face. I'm not the only one who finds it hard to understand. I'm not afraid of God, but I'm afraid of me. Is it running in my blood? Is it running in my veins? Is it running in my genes? Is it in my DNA? Humans are gonna behave as we think we always should, and we can be better as we can be good.
I just wanna be your sweetheart. Fucking come here, give me your heart. With my heart on trigger, they say before you start a war, you gotta know what you're fighting for. Well, baby, you are all that I adore. If love is what you need, a soldier I will be. I need you with the shotgun, fight until the war's born. I don't care if everyone tears me down. I throw away my faith, babe, just to keep it sane. Don't you know you're everything in your hand?
I'll be home soon
I don't want to fix them.
So you're just going to abandon his wounds?
Yeah, that's right. Let him fall back and get treatment on his own.
Even after the war, I was kept in isolation and under guard in a mental facility. Not that I imagine I would have left, even if the door was open.
Suffocation, Wednesday, conversation, Thursday is pathetic, by Friday, life has killed, by Friday, life has killed. If you didn't meditate, couldn't get to my brain all day, couldn't wait for the sun to shine. You made a sign, there was a call, you see it all.
The ones who didn't die went back to the front. They don't have enough men. Angel my ass. I'm basically healing them just for them to die again. Transfer a member of the agency? You think you're being funny? You just want me back in the Mafia. Isn't that really what's behind all this?
I used to hate being compared to him all the time. I turned to crime so I could become his opposite. No dice, because fighting and doing bad shit never relieved me of this indescribable agony. Then one day, I was caught breaking into the safe of some serious crooks. They told me they'd spare my life, but in exchange I'd have to become a grunt for them. Work was fun, as strange as that sounds, when I was fighting as part of something. Powerful organization who had my back and I had theirs. I was neither my brother nor his opposite, but someone else entirely. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make that.
thoughts that go like bullets through you. The time you told me that you wished you were dead.